Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. James the Koi Whisperer. So today, coming up in this video, it's just a bit of an update really, let you know how the fish are doing, how the ponds are running. I ain't gonna lie, I've been a bit unwell the past couple of days. I've had the dreaded man flu, put me in bed for a couple of days. I had no energy, couldn't be bothered to do anything, but I'm feeling a lot better now this morning, and I thought the weather's sort of improved a little bit, and I'd come out in the garden and just give you a bit of an update on how the fish are doing. So it's not going to be the biggest video in the world, it's just a bit of an update really to let you know how the ponds are running, how the koi are doing and how everything's going. I thought the weather temperature's warmed up a hell of a lot at the moment. It's actually currently sat at 8 degrees outside in the garden. It's a hell of a lot better than what it was last week when we was in the minus temperatures. But both ponds seem to be running fantastic at the moment. One thing that has baffled me and surprised me, that the difference of heating a pond and not heating a pond, it's the first year I've ever done it. These guys over here are just sat at ambient temperature, no food going to the pond, but they all seem to be super happy and they're all really active, to be honest with you. Has surprised me slightly because I thought to myself, with no heat in the pond, I was expecting to see a few of them laid up on the bottom, the water temperature's at 5 degrees, and I thought they sort of just hibernate down to a point or lay a little bit dormant and just, you know, try to find a warm spot in the pond down to a point. That's what I've noticed, but these guys seem to be active almost like they're looking for food all of the time. All the filtration on the back, everything's working fantastic. Even when we had the real cold session the other week, nothing froze up, and I'm more than happy with that because I did say that I wanted to enclose this area. I am thinking about doing that, maybe putting a structure up down this side of the pond underneath, creating a sort of boundary so I can put some feather edge against it and then sort of put a little door on it from the inside here, nice and tight, just to enclose everything more than anything, just to make it a little bit more sort of secure from the elements. Don't know if I'll get many advantages by doing that, but peace of mind, it might help. But yeah, all the fish in this pond are doing extremely well. I know a lot of people follow the channel and they know that the heat pump on this pond I'm not actually using at the moment just because it's not man enough for the job. And I did think about investing in another heat pump, a bigger one, but all of these energy bills by adding more and more equipment to your pond, it does add up, not gonna lie. This heat pump that I've got round the back, little bit of an update on it. I'm more than happy with it. It's a 9.5 kilowatt Aquaforte one. It's had no faults whatsoever. But when the water temperature does get cold, obviously I haven't helped myself by having the backy showers running. I haven't covered the pond, and I do find that that heat pump over there is on pretty much constant. You can see the wind damage has certainly affected this plant over here. I don't know if it's because it's constantly blowing cold air at it or it's just the time of the year where it just dies anyway. But I thought this thing was like an evergreen plant anyway. So it could be a bit of the cold wind blowing on it, because it is surprising with the heat pumps, with the fans on them, how much air actually blows out of the fan. The other week when I was out here in the garden, the whole window was frozen up where the air was blowing against it. But this pond seems to be running fantastic. The water trickling in 24/7. And all the fish in this pond, they're currently sat at 11 degrees and they're all doing fantastic. They're loving it. I have fed them a little bit today. I haven't been feeding much. I did say in my last video I wasn't going to feed them at all, but they all look super active and they want a little bit of food. So I always think if the water temperature's holding up and they look like they want a little bit, I did just trickle a couple of handfuls in yesterday, and it looks like because I'm in the garden that they want a bit today as well. But yeah, I just thought I'd let everyone know how things are going. Seeing as the weather's nice, I'll just sit in the garden, do a quick video just to let everyone know what's going on really. I've got a few things planned coming up, going to visit a couple of people, a couple of koi dealers. I've got to get myself back up to Southwest Koi as well. show you the Japanese koi that we got back from Japan when we done the trip over there. And I've been seriously thinking about the past couple of weeks, I've been thinking about purchasing a few more koi myself, but at the same time, which fish I decide to get rid of to add new fish to the collection. I mean, I love all of my koi, but I do think a nice part of the hobby is when you do add a new fish. It's like having a new pet, but you sort of, it's hard to break that barrier of what do you want to do in the hobby. Do you want to just keep pets, or do you want to show fish, or do you want to get another fish or a new fish? And any fish in any pond obviously takes up pond space, down to keeping the water quality good, and also the amount of food that's going to a pond that's getting shared around, sort of which fish get the food down to a point. So really hard to make a decision on which fish I am deciding to move on to someone else in time, and probably think about adding a few better quality fish. Not saying there's nothing wrong with any of my fish, because there's not, but I am certainly been looking around, and you know, some of the fish after seeing them back from Japan, some of the fish that I have seen and I think I wouldn't mind owning myself, certainly does start making you think, what do you want to do with a hobby, or what do I want to do with a hobby? And I mean, you got to make that decision. There's some decent fish in this pond that I'm thinking to myself I could move over on the main pond, grow them up a little bit bigger, because I think myself personally, some of the fish in this pond at the moment, I don't really want to be stunting their growth by keeping them in a small pond. I think the development and growth on any fish, when they get to a certain size, getting them to a little bit more bigger water certainly does help the growth rates on some of them. Not saying that's essential, but when you've got a small pond like this, is only 500 gallon, when they get to a certain size, I think they would just benefit more if I moved a couple of them over to the main pond, and then move some of the fish on the main pond, move them on to someone else. I'm still debating which ones I do move, because every time I come out in the garden and think about doing it, I'm like, I can't get rid of that one, I can't get rid of that one, but I might get rid of that one. And then I go inside and I'll change my mind, and I think, no, I'll just keep what I got. So I'm not really sure what to do on that. I haven't really made up my mind yet. I think when I get the bowl out, when it warms up a little bit, have a little bit more of a sieve through, or a collection, and see which ones I do want to keep and which ones I want to move over from that pond into this pond. There will be people out there saying there's plenty of room in this pond, but there actually ain't. Not for growing fish, just for keeping them in a pond. Yeah, there's more than enough room in there, but for growing them, I'm already overstocked in this pond anyway. Pond's 2,600 gallons. But yeah, that's just a bit of a yibbity yabbada. I thought I'd get the camera out, come out in the garden, and just give you a little bit of yibbity yabbada for today. I have actually closed down one of my fish tanks as well, just because I sort of lost interest in one of the fish tanks that I've got. I was doing, you know, water changes on it, and it only got little neons in there and a little betta fish. And I sort of got to the stage where changing the water once a week, cleaning out the glass, and I sort of got bored with it. I lost interest, and to be honest with you, the koi's where my hobby is. And moving from inside, these little guys in here, these are all doing fantastic as well. I have got to deliver that shower filter as well, because I had a message on Instagram, someone with their little boy just starting off a pond, and to be honest, don't live that far away from me, and I said I was going to personally deliver that, help them out a little bit. And yeah, these guys in here are doing fantastic as well. Water changes on this once a week. I was thinking about putting a little heater in here, like a little fish tank heater, and just keep feeding, but same again, just running more and more electricity bills. Everything adds up, and when you got as many ponds and whatever in my house like I have, it certainly does add up on your electricity bill. But yeah, the system itself really is doing well, and I was a bit surprised, thinking that I might start getting a bit of condensation on the glass and stuff like that, and I haven't had no issues at all really outside here, so that's all singing and dancing. I have got me brackets to finish off making these things, and then I've got to put some lacquer on them, and then I'll give a few of these away in a later on video. But yeah, my brackets decided to turn up, so I can put them on now. But yeah, it's just a bit of an update really. I'm going to take you into my main fish tank now and just show you that one. So this tank itself is always really good, to be honest with you. You can see I've got the beta fish in here now as well. All of the neons in this tank. This tank's actually heated to 24 degrees, so they're always constantly eating, and some of the size of these goldfish now are getting massive. I mean, they're really good characters. The pleco in there is probably doubled in size. They eat like mad. The filtration on the tank's doing fantastic as well. And I'm only doing like water changes every 2 weeks in this tank at the moment. Every time I do a water test comes out perfectly, and I think it's just down to all of the extra biological media that I put in the FX6, which is in the middle of the cabinet there. It's just keeping the water bang on point, and the water changes once every 2 weeks. I'm taking about 10% out, and it's just so easy to maintain. And the tank that I did have out there, the small tank, I decided to move the fish in there. There was only like 6 neons and one of the beta fish, and I thought save a little bit on electric, chuck them in this big tank, and yeah, they're all settled in brilliantly, to be honest with you. You can see some of the neons just sat in behind the rocks there, and they're all doing fine with the goldfish. Did surprise me, but they're all in there, all living the life of luxury, and happy days, as they say. But yeah, really, I just wanted to pick the camera up just to get myself outside, because like I was saying, I have been a little bit rough, and I just wanted to get back outside, have a bit of fresh air today, pick the camera up, say hello to everyone. Hope everyone's doing fantastic, and hopefully the weather starts warming up so we can get out and enjoy the hobby, because I always find in this hobby a lot of people don't even go outside and check their fish. They sort of shut down for the winter. They have no interest in going out in the garden, doing any water maintenance or checking their fish to make sure they're all right. They put a cover over the pond and just leave it. And yeah, you can always tell by the amount of views that you get with a YouTube channel as well, because people are not as interested in this hobby during the months. And it's effective with koi dealers, I suppose, as well, because a lot of people, I had a question the other day saying, can you buy fish in the winter? Well, it all depends where you're buying that fish from and what the temperature of the water is more than anything, because if you're buying your fish from a koi dealer and their ponds are heated and you want to take that fish home and put it in an unheated pond, I mean, you can't go from 20 degrees and put that fish in water that's 5 degrees, because the fish will go into shock and die. But a lot of koi dealers these days, they offer like an overwinter service. So I just wanted to answer the question, but people always asking me, can I buy fish from a new pond I've just set up? Which you can if the water temperature is ambient temperature, but you're doing it at your own risk. Most koi dealers won't start selling fish again until March, or at least let you have them until March. But it's down to your own opinion. If you've got a heat pump on there, there's no issue whatsoever. If your water temperature is the same as your koi dealer, there's no issue. But me, myself personally, I certainly wouldn't take a fish from 20 degrees and put it in anything with a 3-degree difference anyway. So even if you're at 16, I wouldn't take that risk myself. Me, myself personally, a lot of koi dealers sort of offer an overwinter period. So they will house that fish for you until the water temperature warms up. But, you know, everyone's got their own opinion on it. I just wouldn't do it myself personally unless my water temperature was the exact same as what the koi dealer is. Having the advantage of a heat pump on your pond certainly does help, because if you want to crank the temperature up to make sure it's the same as what the fish that you're buying, the water temperature comes from, then that certainly helps. But it is a big risk by taking a fish from heated and dropping it in your pond instantly. For the people that don't know anything about the hobby, a lot of people say, oh, it'll be fine, I've done it loads of times, which sometimes your fish is just hardy and it's all right, but I wouldn't do it myself personally. But even though it is cold today, it is still nice coming out in the garden, having a cup of tea, watching your fish, enjoying the hobby. And it certainly makes me think I might get the fishing rods out, because I fancy doing a bit of carp fishing when it warms up like this. There's still a few bites to be had, so I might end up taking you guys on a little fishing video in a couple of weeks. and see if I can put together a little bit of carp fishing for you, if anyone is interested. I know there's a lot of people that start this hobby because they were fishermen or are fishermen. There's a lot of people that don't, they just like the hobby itself, but most people that I speak to, they start this hobby from the fishing background, or they've done fishing in the past. So I like making a few fishing videos and putting out on the channel myself. But yeah, like I was saying, it's not a massive video. It was just a bit of a check-in really. So I'm going to wrap this video up. Just wanted to check in to say hello to everyone. Hope you're all doing well. And yeah, happy days. I suppose on the next video I put out, I've got to go up and help the mother-in-law put together her fish tank, because she's got one and she wants me to help set it up. So that there will be interesting if it floats your boat. But that being said, if I don't see you in a week, I'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching the video. And yeah, happy days. See you on the next one. Bosh.